Hi everyone, thanks for joining in today. My name is Jorn. I am a co-founder of Wordapp.com, the platform that helps you build, monetize and scale WordPress sites. Editing is an extremely important part of that because obviously the content that we put up on our sites has to be correct. So I asked Linda to join us today. Linda is one of our elite Wordappers in English, and she will talk to you today about editing in Wordapp.com. Linda?
Hi there, John. Hello, everybody, and welcome. So we're talking about what an editor does. I thought we'd start with what they don't do. But first of all, John's put the slide out that I've jumped, and it says what we're going to look at today is your role as a Word app editor, how to become an editor, how to give feedback, tips and tricks on editing, and the coach on training tasks. So I'll go back to what I said before. We're going to start with what we don't do. We don't correct the language that the writers have submitted. They should have checked what they should be using, especially in English. We have UK English, USA English, New Zealand, Canada, Australia. They all have slightly different grammar. They all have slightly different intonations. So that the writers need to be aware of and have submitted correctly. We neither do we check the grammar and or the accuracy of the text. This is what the writers are paid to do. They're paid to provide perfect content, and that perfect content needs possibly a little work from the editor, because that's what we don't do. What we do is we look to improve the text that we've got if it needs it, making it more concise, making sure it's consistent, making sure the word flow runs easily, that it's easy to read. They're the jobs that we do. And excuse me, we want to provide a text that's the best we can possibly give. And to do that, the writer is the first step. The editor neatens it up, tightens it up, and then moves it on to the publisher. So how do you become an editor in Wordapp? First of all, you've got to start delivering some perfect text as writers to prove that you actually know what you're doing. And by doing that, you'll reach level 9. And at that point, you'll be invited to start editing other texts of the lower levels. You will also be invited from projects from people like myself, elite Word appers. We pick and choose, we keep an eye on who's writing, who's editing. And again, editors are so important for us so that we get the text that we want to put up. The text you get, often you do have to send it back. Hopefully the more the writers work with you, the less you have to do that. But it's really important that your feedback is clear about what you're saying. It's no good saying this isn't good enough, this isn't correct, this isn't right. It's the reason why you've sent it back that's important to a writer, so he knows what it is he's looking for. Also, the way you present your comments. We're a team. We work together. You know, the end product is a result of all of us pulling together. So you need to be friendly and as well as informative, and definitely no negative overtones. If you have a suggestion, pose it as a suggestion, not an order. I know sometimes you're under pressure and you're working, and this is maybe the 4th time you've told them to look at what language they're writing in and put a U in colour because it's English, not American. But don't, you know, phrase it politely. They're just as rushed and as pushed. They need to learn to check properly, but you can invite them to do it in a friendly way. And the last one on there, try and avoid patronising language. It really doesn't work well for either of you. When that comes, you're not the boss. You're not telling them what to do. You're advising them how to present a better text so that You have less work to do when their next tests come through and their text is perfect. Again, always remember you're a team pulling in the same direction. Yeah, the tips and tricks are basically for you to do what the writer's done. You check the instructions before you start editing. Know what it is that the end result is to look like. Read the text out loud in your head. I'm fortunate I live alone, so I read it out loud to my dogs. It really does give you insight into the word flow and how it's coming over, the construction of it. You can also take a look at the task activities, which is the box on the left-hand side of your screen at the bottom. And this tells you, well, it'll tell you straight away if it's gone back for plagiarism a few times. It will also tell you how long the writer has been writing it, which can give you an indication maybe of the standard of the work and something you can point out in your suggestions. Also recommend, if you don't have it, that you download Grammarly, the English Grammarly. It's free online and it is so useful. But please remember it's a tool. It is not the answer. You know, use your own common sense of writing and grammar as well. Do check the meta title and description and make sure they do have a call to action in them, that they make sense, that the meta description actually is sentences rather than words typed together. And that way you yourself can improve that piece of work that's going through to the publisher. Because you've got to remember, when these go through to the publisher, you then become responsible for the text. So if the publisher doesn't like anything and it comes back, it is then up to you to fix it, which is time you don't want to spend.
100%. I actually have some things to add there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, as an editor, you are a bit in a selective group of people. I mean, there is plenty more writers compared to the number of editors. So you do have this special responsibility, not only towards the quality of the text, but towards the qualities of the entire task as well. That means that if instructions are not clear or instructions are missing certain items, as an editor, you do have the responsibility to also take this up with the project manager and make sure that it actually gets improved. You can do that either by flagging a task or actually reaching out directly to the project manager or the publisher on the project. Mostly as editors, you actually have access to that. So do take a look at it and make sure that you improve the things that go along. And then you start getting into the role of the elite Wordapper, really. But it is important as an editor to take that responsibility. Nothing is set in stone. Texts are extremely subjective. So try to understand what is it that the client in these cases wants, and see if you can actually improve the text based on that, and make suggestions also where needed to improve the text overall. Everybody will be happy with that, most of all, of course, the client.
Can I just jump in there? My final sentence. When you're writing between yourselves, writers and editors, remember rudeness, and that includes sarcasm or insulting responses, are totally unacceptable in this team and on Wordapp.
100%. I'll just jump in again. I mean, so one, I mean, activities are public, so anyone, including the client, can see any feedback there, and project managers as well. So if we do see people being rude, I mean, it is a reason to get blocked on a project or overall in the app. Second, I mean, what I do have to put a bit of a side note there. I mean, some of the things that you don't know what is playing in people's life. So what seems to be very rude written down can actually be just really normal feedback. So do take some of the things with a grain of salt and think, okay, maybe everything here is fine and I don't need to make a problem out of this. So try to understand that everyone can have a bit of a stressful day. It of course shouldn't reflect in any feedback that you write towards each other, but do keep that in mind that, I mean, we're all people and we're working together on the text.
Yeah, I think sometimes the style of people writing as well, John, into, you know, some people are very clear, concise, and maybe slightly abrupt to people like me who waffle a lot. And you've been here on this webinar. Wordapp has got lots of other courses to help you in your writing and editing and your career in Wordapp. As you can see, they're all up there. And John, do they find this on the website, or do you?
Yes, all the courses are available on wordapp.com/courses. You can register from there as well. If you have any questions, please post them in the chat so that we can go through them right now. And otherwise, I mean, you can always reach out to us later as well in the live chat and see if you have any questions there. Do you have anything to add, Linda? I mean, we went through it very, very quickly, but I think we covered most of the important things when it comes to editing.
Is it Isaiah that's here? I can't see who else is here, sorry.
We have quite a few people joining, I think, yes.
I know I have a very strong Northwestern accent, so if there's anything anybody's unclear of, absolutely no problem in being told you didn't understand what I said. Not in terms, in my accent. No?
I think we're all good for now. So, Linda, thanks for hosting this webinar. I hope to see everyone else who joins on other webinars as well. You can view this recording online later as well. So I hope you guys have a very nice day and a nice week ahead of you as well. Thanks for joining, and see you in the next webinar. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.